Yesterday on campus was shaken up by LSU and the football department as a couple of key hires were made yesterday in bringing in and adding more talent to this already plentiful LSU coaching staff. We speculated in the offseason if there was going to be any moves that were made for LSU, that it was going to be around some type of offensive mind coming in and maybe helping in some kind of way. No, didn't know what it was going to be. Was it going to be a shadow staffer that could help with play calling? Could it be a shadow staffer that helps in the run game? Could it be the shadow staffer that could come in and help in just the offensive production? But yesterday, LSU made news, and Matt Zenitz of 247 made the announcement and broke the news that LSU is bringing in former offensive coordinator from Florida State, Alex Atkins. And Atkins, at just about probably 2 years ago, I guess it was 3 years ago, when Brad Davis was being replaced, as the offensive line coach with Joe Craig on the way out. Yeah, Atkins' name kept popping up as a potential guy, and then his name would also become very popular with coaching searches throughout the country. I mean, his name for a minute there was one of the hot names of the offensive line, and even from an offensive coordinator standpoint. Now, obviously last year things hit the skids in Tallahassee, and there's got to be some type of blame to throw around, and the offensive staff was all relieved of their duties. He was tabbed yesterday by Brian Kelly to come in and be the run game coordinator and help out LSU up front. And I thought that was a tremendous addition to an already plentiful offensive staff, to bring in a guy like Atkins, who LSU has gone to war with Atkins in recruiting over the past couple of years. They have really been two of the teams that have battled for some of the high-end offensive line prospects, and now to add him to the staff, I thought was a key addition yesterday made by Brian Kelly. He's also going to be able to help with the tight ends. Slade Nagel, who coached the tight ends and special teams, left in December and became the offensive coordinator at Houston. So this was, I thought, just a tremendous hire and addition to the staff yesterday for Brian Kelly on the offensive side of the ball. And that wasn't the only move that he made. Not only did he add Alex Atkins to the staff, but he also added a former defensive coordinator from Miami and a Louisiana native in Lance Guidry to the staff as well. The Advocate reported yesterday that Ed Guidry would be an analyst on LSU's staff. He spent the past 2 seasons as Miami's defensive coordinator. He was the head coach at McNeese from 16 to 18. He also served as defensive coordinator at Marshall, Southeastern, and Western Kentucky. Comes in with just a wealth of experience, a great understanding of Louisiana, a great understanding of Louisiana talent and recruiting, and another, I thought, very just solid addition to a staff that already, especially on that side of the ball, defensively, I feel very comfortable about where LSU is from a staff standpoint. When you're talking Bo Davis, when you're talking Corey Raymond, when you're talking, the guy Kevin Olson, Jake Peoples, guys that are there on that side, and of course Blake Baker, and then to add a guy like Guidry, I know that he's going to be an analyst but all these guys now are hands on. All these guys are in the meeting rooms. All these guys are in the video rooms. All these guys have relationships. I mean, this stuff is, adding these guys to the staff really strengthens who you are, I think, going into next season. I thought the 2 staff hires yesterday was as high quality as I've seen Brian Kelly bring in the offseason, and he's done some pretty impressive stuff from a staff and turnover standpoint, but to add these guys into the mix, it really goes into what we're saying. I mean, it makes LSU a very trendy pick going into the year. It makes LSU a team that you look at and you say, hey, where is the holes that they left open coming out of the offseason? They knew they had some things that they needed to fix, and that was veteran talent where they dominated the transfer portal. They got the number one class. They needed to restock some of the talent they were losing. They went out and got a top 5 recruiting class in America. They needed some things that they needed help on from a staff standpoint, and they go out and grab a couple of former coordinators and real high-end coaches in Atkins and Guidry and add them already to a very talented staff. I mean, the offseason for Brian Kelly has been very impressive in my eyes. I mean, I think that he has done a just tremendous job of answering all of the questions that his team had coming out of the season and doing the best he could to replace them and giving them an opportunity to go into next season and really be competitive and strong. I mean, these 2 moves yesterday are just the latest in a list of lines of moves that they've made here in the offseason that makes and feels like LSU is one of the real teams that feel like they're going to be a competitor next year.
Yeah, I mean, these last 2 moves they've made were to bring in a Power 4 defensive coordinator as an analyst and a Power 4 offensive coordinator as a position coach. And those are big-time moves. Now, both of those guys were fired from their past gig and kind of had similar situations where they were really good 2 years ago. There's a drop-off this past season. They get let go, and now they're on Brian Kelly's staff. And to me, it shows how real Kelly and LSU are into going into next year of taking it serious. He called a shot saying that they're going to check receipts, and then he's followed that up with, like you said, the transfer portal class, these coaching hires. And then on top of that, it's just created an energy around the program, like you said, where they have expectations and they're showing why. He has answered and responded to his mistakes. Yep. Where when he came in, he thought he could do it his way, and he realized pretty quickly that that was incorrect. And now when you look down the line, going into year 4, he has completely overhauled the entire staff and done it the right way where everybody is connected to Louisiana. Like, you can go down the list of position coaches. They're all connected to Louisiana somehow, whether it's Frank Wilson, Corey Raymond, Bo Davis, Blake Baker, Kevin Peoples, and then now Guidry as a analyst and Atkins as the run game coordinator, tight ends coach. It's just he's done it the right way once he realized his mistakes. And so you have to commend Kelly on adjusting and fixing it.
I think without question. I think that he has a lot of critics. I think that he has people that are waiting to kind of step up and say, what are you doing?
Right.
And when, you also have to if you're in that position, have to recognize that he's doing some real quality stuff that, feels like I don't know how much better of an offseason he could have had. He needed transfer portals. He went and got the top class. He needed some additions to the staff. He brings in a couple of experienced coordinators and guys that, got reputations of being, really good at their job. And, the tie of Louisiana with Lance Guidry, Alex Atkins, the offensive line coach who he knows all these guys in that room fairly well because he recruited them so hard. Right? What was the
Solomon Thomas
Solomon Thomas was
committed to him.
He damn near cried when he committed to LSU.
Right.
So, I just think that those were very impressive moves that LSU made yesterday.
Yeah, and it just, like you said, it puts you further and further into the conversation of college football playoff national championship. Like, I think when people talk about next season, it's going to be hard to deny who LSU is going into the season because of the personnel additions, both when it comes to players and the staff, and that they're in a very good position to make a run.
LSU has done a good job of finding kind of these coaches that were hot on the like
little one-offs.
Right, like the Broyles Award list finalist with Guidry, and then Alex Atkins puts up the best offense Florida State's seen since Jimbo Fisher and Jameis Winston. 1 year fall off, and then gets fired. Obviously, somebody had to pay for Florida State losing as many games as they did, and the offense putting up 15 points a game. But are we not going to look around the room and go, maybe DJU wasn't the answer?
Right.
And so, like, offensive coordinator gets fired, and he's going to get some back pay from Florida State because of the buyout. Looking around for a job, like, I recruited. He told
come coach all the guys you know.
Yeah, and he told Solomon Thomas to go to LSU. Like, because he asked him, he's like, if you're going, where should I look at? He's like,
Brad Davis.
Davis.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a great relationship with him. He'll treat you just like I would treat you. He's like, I wanted you to come to Florida State because I wanted to win the recruitment. And now Solomon Thomas is a big winner here. He gets both. Move him to tight end.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the first guys I thought of when I saw it. I mean, just because of the way that his commitment went down, where, I mean, it seemed like he was like, I don't want to leave Florida State. I mean, I kind of felt sorry for the kid. I really did. I mean, when watching it, and it goes to show you, like, a lot of these things